Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the Confederation Council, her heart pounding but her expression carefully neutral. The massive chamber, with its soaring crystalline spires and floating platforms, was designed to intimidate. 7 different alien species gazed down at her from their elevated positions, their bodies ranging from vaguely humanoid to utterly bizarre. The air hummed with translation fields and scanning beams. "We welcome humanity to the galactic community," announced High Counselor Vexthor, his iridescent scales shifting colors as he spoke. "Your species has shown remarkable progress for such a young civilization." Sarah noted the subtle condescension in his tone, the way his upper eyes narrowed, a sign of concern she'd learned to recognize during the preliminary meetings. "Humanity is honored by your welcome," she replied, using their formal diplomatic protocols perfectly despite having learned them just days ago. "We look forward to joining the greater galactic community as equals." A ripple of movement passed through the council. Counselor Zira, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, flickered rapidly, their species equivalent of nervous laughter. "Equals? My dear, you must understand. Your species is still in its infancy. You've barely mastered basic interplanetary travel. Yet we achieved in centuries what took many species millennia." Sarah countered smoothly. She activated her neural interface, projecting a holographic display of human technological advancement. "Our rate of progress is precisely why you need guidance," interrupted Counselor Mechthal, his tentacles writhing. "Such rapid advancement without proper oversight is dangerous. Look at your own history of warfare, of environmental damage." Sarah had expected this argument. Mistakes we learned from, challenges we overcame. She switched her display to show Earth's environmental restoration projects, the Mars terraforming initiatives, the peaceful unification of Earth's nations. As the council deliberated, Sarah noticed their AI interfaces flickering with data, her enhanced neural implant, a recent development they didn't know humans had achieved, caught fragments of encrypted transmissions, something about containment protocols and potential threat assessments. The council's private deliberations stretched on, giving Sarah time to work. Her neural implant, designed to interface with alien technology, probed their network's defenses. She found a backdoor in their translation systems. Their AIs never expected the primitive human to attempt cyber infiltration during a diplomatic meeting. High Counselor Vexthor's voice pulled her attention back. "We have decided. Earth will be granted protected species status. We will guide your development, ensure your safety, and gradually introduce you to galactic technologies." Sarah bowed respectfully, even as her implant downloaded classified files through the back door. "Your generosity honors us." The words tasted bitter. Later, in her private quarters aboard the human diplomatic vessel, Sarah reviewed her stolen data. Her hands trembled as she read report after report, species after species marked as potentially disruptive, given the same protection Earth was now receiving. Their development deliberately stifled, their ambitions systematically crushed over generations. One report caught her eye: Human Psychological Profile. Concerning traits include exceptional adaptability, rapid learning curve, unprecedented technological innovation rate. Recommendation: immediate containment before potential threat materializes. A soft chime announced a visitor. Sarah quickly encrypted the files. Enter. A junior Confederation diplomat, Xirax, stepped in. The young alien's translucent skin pulsed with anxiety. "Dr. Chen, what I'm about to say could cost me everything, but you need to know. The protection status, it's not what you think." Sarah studied the alien carefully. "Tell me more." "There was another species, centuries ago, like yours, adaptable, innovative. The Council offered them protection too. Now they're decorative pets in Confederation gardens. Their minds dulled by generations of protective chemicals in their food and water." Sarah's blood ran cold. The classified files had hinted at this, but hearing it confirmed. "Why are you telling me this?" Xirax's skin rippled with patterns of distress. Because I've studied your species. You're different. The way you think, adapt, create, it terrifies them. And maybe that's exactly what this galaxy needs. Sarah stood, her decision made. She activated her secure Earth channel, even as her mind raced through implications and possibilities. This is Dr. Chen. Priority message for the Security Council. Code Black. The Confederation isn't offering protection. They're implementing quarantine. Earth needs to know. As she spoke, her neural implant continued siphoning data. In the coming days, Earth would learn the full truth about their new allies. And Sarah Chen, the diplomat chosen to represent humanity's best face to the galaxy, would begin planning humanity's resistance against their would-be oppressors. The gilded cage was being prepared, but its intended prisoners had no intention of accepting their confinement. The Confederation had made a crucial mistake. They had revealed their true intentions to the very species most capable of defying them. Commander James Rodriguez watched the Mars research station burn. Through the reinforced viewport of his patrol ship, the Vigilant, he witnessed ribbons of molten metal peel away from the structure as Confederation energy weapons carved it apart. His knuckles whitened on the command chair's armrests. "Sir," his tactical officer's voice cracked. They're not even letting them evacuate." The station's distress call still echoed in his ears. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead researcher, desperately trying to explain that their quantum communications breakthrough wasn't a weapons project. The Confederation ships had arrived minutes later, declaring a containment breach protocol. "Engineering reports our new shields are holding," his XO reported. "They haven't detected the modifications yet. Those modifications, reverse-engineered from restricted Confederation tech, were probably illegal under their so-called protection treaties." Right now, Rodriguez couldn't care less about legality. "Launch rescue shuttles," he ordered. "Maximum stealth protocols." "Sir," the Confederation. "They won't fire on a humanitarian mission." His tone made it clear he wasn't entirely sure of that. Not if they want to maintain their benevolent facade. As his crew sprang into action, Rodriguez's secure comm chirped. Dr. Sarah Chen's encrypted hologram appeared above his command console. "Commander, please tell me you're at Mars, watching our protectors murder scientists as we speak." His words carried 6 months of accumulated bitterness. "It's happening exactly as I warned the Security Council." Sarah's image flickered. "This is just the beginning. They've been systematically sabotaging our deep space research, our AI development, our quantum physics programs, always with plausible excuses." Rodriguez watched his rescue shuttle slip through the chaos, using sensor blind spots his crew had identified through careful study of Confederation tactics. Not just sabotage anymore. This is open murder. A new alarm blared. "Sir, Confederation cruiser launching fighters." "They've spotted the shuttles," Rodriguez's tactical officer reported. "Intercept course." Rodriguez made a decision that would change humanity's future. Weapons-free. Protect those shuttles. The Vigilant's modified weapons arrays deployed. The Confederation fighters, expecting to bully primitive human vessels, flew straight into a barrage of hybridized human-alien technology. 2 fighters disappeared in balls of plasma. The others scattered, their rigid combat programming struggling to adapt to unexpected capabilities. "Sir, incoming transmission from the Confederation cruiser." The alien commander's hologram appeared, its insectoid features contorted in what Rodriguez had learned was outrage. "This is a direct violation of protection protocols. Stand down immediately or—" Rodriguez cut the transmission. "Get our people out of that station. Then get me everything from their data cores." The rescue operation became a combat mission. The Vigilant danced through space, its human crew's improvisational tactics confounding Confederation targeting systems. More ships arrived, on both sides. Other human vessels, also secretly modified, jumped in to support the Vigilant. A Confederation battle cruiser emerged from FTL, its weapon ports glowing. "All stations, brace for combat," Rodriguez ordered. Show them why humanity doesn't need their protection. The battle that followed would be remembered as humanity's first real space combat victory. The Vigilance crew, combining human intuition with adapted alien tech, proved devastating against the Confederation's rigid battle doctrine. When the battlecruiser finally retreated, leaving its fighters in ruins, Rodriguez knew everything had changed. In the battle's aftermath, as rescue teams evacuated the station's survivors and secured its data, Rodriguez received another transmission. This time, it wasn't from Sarah Chen or the Confederation. A new alien face appeared, one he'd never seen in Confederation records. Its features were almost crystalline, its voice carrying centuries of suppressed anger. "Commander Rodriguez," it said, "I am Cathal, of a species the Confederation protected into near extinction centuries ago. What you did today, others were watching. Others who remember what it means to defy them. If humanity is ready to fight, you are not alone." Hours later, Rodriguez sat in his ready room, reviewing the rescued station's data with Dr. Tanaka. The quantum communications breakthrough wasn't just significant, it was revolutionary. A way to communicate instantly across galaxies, completely outside Confederation control. They knew, Tanaka said softly. They knew this would shatter their monopoly on interstellar communications. That's why they tried to destroy it all. Rodriguez's secure comm activated again. Sarah Chen's face appeared, alongside multiple other human military and political leaders. "Commander, the Security Council has seen your battle footage. Combined with the evidence I've gathered, we're done playing their game. Humanity is officially rejecting Confederation protection." And then, Rodriguez asked, though he already knew. "Then?" Sarah's expression hardened. "Then we show them exactly what they were afraid of. Operation Phoenix begins now. Humanity doesn't just break free. We free every species they've chained." As alerts sounded across the ship, announcing humanity's official break from Confederation control, Rodriguez remembered Cathal's words. They were not alone. The galaxy's oppressed were watching, waiting, hoping. The breaking point had come. Now, the real war would begin. Dr. Maya Patel stared at her holographic display in disbelief. The genetic analysis she'd been running on comparative alien physiologies had revealed something extraordinary, something that explained why the Confederation feared humanity's potential. "Run it again," she ordered her lab's eye. Full spectrum analysis. The results remained consistent. While every other known species had evolved toward specialization, humans were nature's greatest generalists. The implications were staggering. Her lab, hidden beneath the Himalayan mountains, hummed with activity. Since humanity's break from Confederation control 3 months ago, research facilities like hers have been working around the clock to understand their advantages and weaknesses. Dr. Patel, her assistant, burst in. The latest neural plasticity results matched the genetic findings, don't they? Maya was already pulling up the new data. We're not just adaptable physically. Our brains rewire themselves at rates that should be impossible, her assistant finished. The Confederation species can't do it. Their neural pathways are too specialized, too fixed. Maya expanded the holographic display, showing comparative brain scans. Confederation species showed highly developed but rigid neural structures. Human brains were a dance of constant change and adaptation. That's why their AI can't predict us, Maya muttered. We don't just think outside the box. We rebuild the box while they're watching. A secure communication window opened. Dr. Sarah Chen's face appeared, looking tired but determined. Maya, please tell me you have something. The Confederation just hit 3 more research stations. Sarah, I have everything. Maya started transmitting data. We've been looking at this all wrong. The Confederation didn't fear our technology. They feared us. Our biology, our brains, our very nature. She explained her findings, how human adaptability wasn't just about surviving different environments. Humans could learn new skills faster, integrate foreign concepts more easily, and improvise solutions in ways other species found impossible. Look at this. Maya highlighted brain scans from human pilots learning to operate Confederation ships. We don't just copy their techniques. We improve them, combine them with other skills, create entirely new approaches. No other species does this so quickly, and that's why they wanted to contain us, Sarah realized. Before we could reach our full potential, it gets better. Maya switched to genetic data. Remember how they said our bodies were fragile compared to other species? They're wrong. We're not weaker. We're more flexible. Other species evolved armor, specialized organs, specific defenses. We evolved to adapt, to heal, to become whatever we need to be. A new alert flashed. Someone was trying to breach the lab's security. Maya quickly backed up her data as alarms blared. Confederation strike team. Security warned through the lab's comm system. They found us. But Maya smiled, because the intruders had just proved her point about human adaptability. Her lab had prepared for this. The strike team, expecting to find cowering scientists, instead encountered a facility that transformed into a trap. Walls shifted, corridors rearranged, defense systems activated. The human security team, combining martial arts with adapted alien tech, moved with unprecedented efficiency. Sarah, Maya continued, even as she evacuated her staff. There's more. Our emotional range, our creativity, our ability to form bonds with different species, they're all linked. We don't just adapt physically and mentally. We adapt culturally, socially, emotionally. Through the security feeds, she watched her defenders drive back the Confederation forces. Human martial artists wielding adapted energy weapons. Tactical teams combining Earth guerrilla warfare with alien technology. Each fighter improvising, adapting, creating new techniques on the fly. The Confederation built their society on specialization. Maya explained. Species designated for specific roles, fixed hierarchies, rigid thinking. But that's their weakness. In trying to create perfect order, they lost the ability to evolve. And we're the chaos factor, Sarah understood. The species that never stops evolving. Exactly. Maya secured the last of her data as her lab's self-destruct sequence armed. They can't predict us because we're constantly changing. They can't control us because we always find new ways to break free. They can't defeat us because we turn every defeat into a lesson, every setback into an advantage. Hours later, safely relocated to a new facility, Maya presented her findings to Earth's unified command. The data became the foundation of humanity's resistance strategy. They stopped trying to match Confederation specialization and instead embraced their adaptability. Training programs evolved. Instead of copying Confederation military doctrine, humans created hybrid techniques. Fighter pilots combined dogfighting with alien tech. Scientists merged Earth theories with advanced physics. Every defeat taught them something new. Every victory opened new possibilities. The Confederation had feared human potential. Now, as Maya's research spread to resistance cells across the galaxy, they would learn why. Humanity wasn't just fighting for freedom. They were fighting to prove that adaptation, creativity, and diversity weren't weaknesses to be controlled. They were strengths that would reshape the galaxy. Captain Lai Wei stood on the bridge of the Shadow Dancer, her experimental stealth ship hovering at the edge of the Confederation monitoring station's sensor range. Everything hinged on the next few minutes. If her crew failed, humanity would lose their best chance at breaking the Confederation's surveillance network. Status report, she ordered, her voice steady despite the tension. Stealth systems holding, her tech officer replied. Their sensors are still reading us as background radiation. Lai allowed herself a small smile. The ship's metamaterial coating, developed by combining human stealth technology with salvaged Confederation tech, was working perfectly. But staying hidden was the easy part. All teams, final positions, she commanded. Remember, we do this exactly as practiced. The plan was audacious. Some would say insane. While the Shadow Dancer distracted the station's main defenses, teams of spacewalking commandos would infiltrate through maintenance airlocks. Meanwhile, electronic warfare specialists would unleash viral programs that exploited weaknesses Dr. Chen's intelligence team had discovered in Confederation computer systems. Station's patrol ships beginning their scheduled sweep, Tactical reported. Exactly as predicted. Lai nodded. The Confederation's greatest weakness was their rigid adherence to protocols. Every patrol followed the same pattern. Every response followed established procedures. They'd grown too dependent on their battle computers, losing the ability to improvise. "Launch Operation Ghostwalker," she ordered. The Shadow Dancer's hull silently opened, releasing dozens of suited figures into space. Each commando carried hybrid weapons, human ingenuity merged with alien technology. They moved in perfect formation, using minimal thrusters to avoid detection. "Patrol ships at maximum distance from the station," Tactical announced. "Now, execute primary distraction." The Shadow Dancer launched its first surprise, modified probe drones that broadcast false sensor readings. To the station's computers, it would appear that a small merchant fleet had just dropped out of FTL in the wrong location. The response was immediate and predictable. Alert signals flashed across the station. Patrol ships moved to intercept the Phantom fleet, following standard procedure for unauthorized civilian vessels. Commandos reaching first access point. Operations reported. Station defenses still focused on the drone signatures. Lai watched the tactical display, counting seconds. The station's AI would eventually realize the merchant ships weren't real. They had perhaps 10 minutes before it adapted its sensors. "Team 1 breaching now," came the whispered report. "Team 2 in position." Then everything went wrong. A patrol ship deviated from its programmed response pattern, something that should have been impossible according to their intelligence. "Captain, Patrol Ship 3 is turning back." Lai's mind raced. The Confederation was learning, adapting their tactics. But that adaptation could work against them. "Launch secondary package," she ordered. "All teams, accelerate timeline." New drones launched, but these carried a different payload. Electromagnetic pulses modified to match the frequency of Confederation shield systems. As the patrol ship approached, the pulses triggered its automated defense protocols. The ship's own shields began cycling rapidly, creating sensor interference. "Teams 3 and 4, go now. Use the shield interference as cover." The spacewalking commandos accelerated their approach, riding the electromagnetic chaos like surfers on a wave. The station's sensors, confused by the shield frequencies, failed to detect them. Inside the station, the first teams had already reached their objectives. Human hackers, their neural interfaces enhanced with reversed-engineered alien tech, launched viral attacks that turned the station's own systems against it. Station's main computer experiencing cascade failures, tech reported with satisfaction. They can't distinguish real alerts from false ones. The station's defenders fell into confusion. Their battle computers, facing scenarios they weren't programmed for, began giving contradictory orders. Some systems initiated shutdown protocols, while others activated emergency responses. "All teams, Phase 2, Lai commanded. Make them remember this day." The commandos moved with practiced precision, disabling key systems and planting quantum-encrypted backdoors in others. Every move had been rehearsed, but the teams constantly improvised as they encountered unexpected obstacles. The station's commander finally realized what was happening, but by then it was too late. The Shadow Dancer revealed itself, launching a barrage of conventional missiles, not to destroy the station, just to keep its automated defenses busy while the infiltration teams completed their mission. "Data core accessed," came the triumphant report. "Downloading surveillance network protocols now." Lai allowed herself to breathe. The impossible was becoming possible. "Captain, communications broke in. We're picking up transmissions, lots of them, on frequencies we've never seen before. Other species, watching from hidden outposts, and cloaked ships had witnessed humanity's victory. The supposedly unbreakable Confederation monitoring station had fallen to a combination of human ingenuity and adapted alien tech. "Broadcast the final message," Lai ordered. "Let everyone see." The commandos' helmet cameras had recorded everything. As they retreated to the Shadow Dancer, the footage was already spreading across hidden networks throughout the galaxy. Other oppressed species watched in amazement as humans demonstrated that the Confederation wasn't invincible. Hours later, safely hidden in deep space, Lai received a message from Earth Command. Dr. Chen's face appeared, smiling. "You did it, Captain. The Confederation's surveillance network is compromised, and more importantly, you've given hope to every species they've subjugated. The resistance isn't just human anymore." Lai looked at her crew. Humans operating hybrid technology, using tactics no battle computer could predict, achieving what the Confederation had deemed impossible. "We're just getting started," she replied. The spark of rebellion had been lit, and it would soon become a galaxy-wide inferno. Kethel watched the recorded footage of the human assault on the monitoring station for the 100th time. His crystalline body hummed with frequencies his species hadn't expressed in centuries. Hope, excitement, defiance. Emotions the Confederation had spent generations suppressing through protective regulations. "They did what we could not," his companion, Zixra, observed. Their energy form flickered with barely contained excitement. "They succeeded where our ancestors failed." In their hidden sanctuary deep within an asteroid belt, representatives from 12 protected species had gathered. Each had once been like humanity. Vibrant, innovative, dangerous in the Confederation's eyes. Each had been systematically stripped of their potential through centuries of subtle oppression. "Look at how they move," Kill indicated the human commandos. "They combine techniques in ways our battle computers classified as impossible. They remind us of who we were," finished Nectar, a being of living metal whose species had once been renowned warriors. Now they were maintenance drones, their martial heritage reduced to manufacturing protocols. The gathering was unprecedented. Species that had been kept separate by Confederation decree were meeting in secret, sharing stories of their lost heritage. Cathal had spent decades preparing for this moment, preserving forbidden histories, maintaining ancient technologies. A new transmission arrived, encrypted using quantum protocols that matched forgotten patterns in Kithal's ancestral memory. Dr. Sarah Chen's hologram appeared. "Greetings, fellow resistors," she began. "Humanity extends its hand in alliance." Kthul moved forward. "Your victory at the monitoring station was impressive, Dr. Chen. But the Confederation's response will be severe." "We're counting on it," Sarah smiled. "They'll respond according to established protocols, using tactics our combined intelligence can predict. That's why we need your help." The assembled aliens stirred. Help. They had been helpless for so long. "Your species weren't just defeated," Sarah continued. "You were transformed. Your strengths turned into chains." The crystalline Cathal were master strategists, now forced to spend their tactical genius organizing trade routes. The energy collective of Zixra were innovators, reduced to maintaining outdated power systems. She looked at each representative in turn. "We've studied your histories, your true histories. Everything the Confederation tried to erase. Every species here has something unique, something vital." K'Gal's crystalline surface rippled with ancient command frequencies. "And what would humanity offer in return for our aid?" "Freedom," Sarah replied simply. "Not just from control, but from the mental chains they've placed on you. Dr. Patel has discovered something remarkable about human adaptability. We can help your species reclaim their suppressed abilities." The evidence was displayed. Neural patterns, genetic studies, cultural analysis. The human ability to adapt and change could be shared, used to break through centuries of conditioning. "More than that," Sarah continued, "we offer partnership. Not dominance, not protection, but true alliance. Each species contributing their unique strengths." Kthal had dreamed of this moment. His body resonated with frequencies of his warrior ancestors. The Confederation believes they stripped us of our power, but they only forced it dormant. One by one, the representatives stepped forward. The metallic collective of Nectar, whose living metal could form any shape. The quantum architects of Zixra, whose energy forms could manipulate reality itself. Species after species, each remembering their true heritage. "We will need time," Cole cautioned. "Generations of suppression cannot be overcome instantly. Time is something we can give you," Sarah assured them. "While humanity draws their attention, your people can awaken. Remember who you were. Discover who you can become." The alliance was formed in that hidden sanctuary. Each species shared their secret knowledge, their preserved technologies, their forbidden histories. Humanity's adaptability proved catalytic, helping others break through their conditioning. Thal felt power flowing through his crystalline matrix. Real power, not the pale shadow the Confederation permitted. They believed they could control evolution itself, shape species into what they deemed safe. That was their greatest mistake. No species evolves in isolation. Sarah agreed. We grow stronger together, each contributing, each learning, each becoming more than they were. As the meeting concluded, Thal received reports from his network of observers. Throughout the galaxy, the spark of rebellion was catching fire. Species that had been dormant for centuries were remembering their strength. The Confederation thought they created perfect order, he told Sarah. Instead, they created the seeds of their own destruction. Every species they suppressed, every potential they tried to control, all of it waiting to be unleashed. Sarah's hologram smiled. Then let's give them what they feared most. A galaxy where every species is free to reach their full potential. The revolution had found its allies. The Confederation had spent centuries carefully containing dozens of species. Now, humanity's defiance was awakening them all. The galaxy was about to remember why diversity breeds strength, why evolution cannot be controlled. The age of suppression was ending. The age of liberation had begun. Commander James Rodriguez stood before the holographic war table, surrounded by military leaders from a dozen species. The combined fleet hung in orbit around a rogue planet, hidden from Confederation sensors. What had started as a human resistance had evolved into something unprecedented, a multi-species fighting force that defied all conventional military doctrine. The Confederation expects us to attack their supply lines here. He indicated a cluster of trade routes. It's what their tactical simulations predict as the most logical target. Then we do the illogical, rumbled Nectar, the living metal warrior. As humans have taught us. Rodriguez smiled. 6 months of working with formerly suppressed species had revolutionized warfare. Each brought unique perspectives, forgotten techniques that the Confederation had tried to erase. Show them the new formation, he commanded. The hologram shifted, displaying a battle strategy that would have been impossible months ago. Crystalline Kithal ships formed living shield matrices, their ancient defensive technologies enhanced by human innovations. Within their protection, energy beings of the Zixra collective-powered experimental weapons based on quantum manipulation. The humans call it Dance of the Fireflies, Rodriguez explained. Inspired by Earth insects that synchronize their movements in ways that still puzzle our scientists. He assembled allies watched as the simulation played out. Human ships moved in seemingly random patterns that resolved into devastating attack formations. Each maneuver incorporated different cultural influences. Zulu military tactics adapted for three-dimensional space warfare. Arabian horse-riding techniques translated into fighter squadron movements. Chinese strategic principles applied to fleet logistics. Your species derives military innovation from dancing insects. A Cathol commander's crystalline form vibrated with amusement. And from poetry, sports, music, everything. Rodriguez activated another simulation. This attack pattern, based on jazz improvisation. The Confederation's battle computers can't predict it because it's not meant to be predicted. Each ship responds to the others in real time, creating patterns that emerge organically. The war room hummed with excited energy as more battle plans were revealed. Every human culture had contributed something unique. Japanese sword-fighting principles guided energy weapon attacks. Indian chess strategies influenced fleet positioning. Brazilian capoeira inspired evasive maneuvers that turned defense into offense. The Confederation built their military on standardization. Rodriguez continued. Every ship, every soldier, following precise protocols. But they forgot something crucial about evolution. Diversity breeds strength. A tactical officer burst into the room. Commander, Confederation fleet detected on approach to the Arcturus colonies. Rodriguez looked at his assembled allies. They're targeting civilian settlements. Time to show them what our beautiful chaos can do. The combined fleet moved like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships led the charge, their seemingly erratic movements masking precise coordination. K-foe cruisers formed and reformed crystalline defense patterns that adapted to enemy fire. Zixra energy vessels phased between dimensions, appearing where least expected. In the command center, Rodriguez watched the battle unfold. The Confederation fleet, despite its superior numbers and technology, couldn't adapt to the constantly changing tactics. Their battle computers, trying to predict movements based on logical patterns, failed completely when faced with strategies derived from human art and culture. "They're breaking formation," reported a tactical officer. "Their command structure is falling apart." The Confederation had never faced an enemy that fought like this. Their ships, programmed for efficient combat, couldn't handle the controlled chaos of human-inspired warfare. When they adjusted to one cultural fighting style, the alliance would switch to another, combining techniques in ways that seemed impossible. Hours later, as the Confederation fleet retreated in disarray, Rodriguez received transmissions from across the galaxy. Other suppressed species, watching the battle through hidden channels, were rising up. The myth of Confederation military superiority had been shattered. "Your victory will inspire others," Cathal observed. "But the Confederation will adapt eventually." Rodriguez nodded. "They'll try. But adaptation isn't just about copying techniques. It's about understanding the underlying principles. They can study our battle plans forever, but they'll never truly grasp them because they've forgotten how to innovate." He turned to his allies. "Every culture, every species, brings something unique to warfare. The Confederation tried to eliminate that diversity, create a perfect military system. Instead, they created their own weakness." The next phase was already beginning. Across the galaxy, resistance forces were adopting human-inspired tactics, combining them with their own recovered traditions. The art of war was being rewritten, not as a single doctrine, but as a living, evolving symphony of combat styles. The Confederation had wanted order. Instead, they would face beautiful chaos, guided by the one species that had never forgotten how to dance with the unexpected. The galaxy was about to learn that true strength lies not in perfection, but in the endless variations of imperfection, each adding its own note to the cosmic dance of battle. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the ancient hall of the Cathal Archive, surrounded by crystalline structures that pulsed with recovered memories. Her research had evolved far beyond initial studies of human adaptability. Now she was helping entire species remember who they were. "The neural patterns are stabilizing," she announced, monitoring the massive crystalline structure before her. Another generation of suppressed memories, restored. The Cathal Elder's surface rippled with emotions that hadn't been expressed in centuries. Around them, younger Cathal resonated with newly awakened abilities. Strategic genius that the Confederation had buried under layers of psychological conditioning. "Your theory was correct," the Elder hummed. "The Confederation didn't eliminate our capabilities. They merely buried them." Maya nodded, watching her holographic displays. "They couldn't eliminate them without destroying what made each species unique. So they created mental blocks, cultural restrictions, subtle manipulations passed down through generations. But human adaptability had proved to be the key to breaking those chains. Maya's team had discovered that human neural patterns, when properly synchronized with other species, could help bypass centuries of conditioning. It was like finding the right frequency to shatter glass. An urgent communication interrupted their work. Sarah Chen's hologram appeared, her expression intense. "Maya, it's starting. The Confederation just lost control of 3 major sectors. We need everything you've got." Maya's fingers flew over her interface, transmitting data. "The awakening protocols are spreading faster than we predicted. Every species we help remember becomes a catalyst for others. Across the galaxy, the revolution was exploding in ways the Confederation never expected. The Zixra energy beings, remembering their mastery of quantum engineering, were disabling entire defense networks. The Nectar living metal warriors, their true forms restored, were transforming from maintenance drones into living weapons. "The Confederation fleet is mobilizing," Sarah reported, "but they're facing weapons and tactics they've never seen before. Technologies they thought were lost centuries ago." Maya switched her displays to the tactical overview. Confederation battle computers, designed to counter known threats, were failing completely against restored ancient technologies combined with human innovations. Their rigid protocols couldn't handle the chaotic beauty of multiple species fighting with their full potential unleash. Dr. Patel, a young Kefil researcher, burst into the chamber. "The genetic archives. We found something incredible. The discovery was revolutionary. The Confederation hadn't just suppressed individual species. They'd been systematically preventing natural evolution throughout the galaxy. Their protection had been freezing entire civilizations in artificial stasis. Send this to Commander Rodriguez immediately," Maya ordered. "The Confederation's control is more fragile than we thought. Every species they've suppressed is like a compressed spring, storing centuries of potential energy." The revolution swept through the galaxy like wildfire. Each liberated species helped free others, sharing forgotten knowledge, combining ancient wisdom with new innovations. The Confederation's carefully maintained order collapsed in the face of explosive diversity. Captain Li Wei's tactical strikes had evolved into full-scale liberation campaigns. Commander Rodriguez's hybrid warfare strategies were being adopted and modified by dozens of species, and through it all, Maya's team worked tirelessly, helping species after species break free from mental chains they hadn't even known they wore. "Maya," Sarah's hologram returned hours later. "The Confederation Council is in chaos. Their own member species are beginning to question centuries of doctrine. We're detecting massive energy signatures around their capital world. They're preparing something desperate," Maya concluded, "a last attempt to restore their version of order." But order, she had learned, was not about control. True order emerged from the complex dance of diversity, from the endless variations of evolution. The Confederation, in trying to create perfect stability, had created the conditions for their own downfall. "All research teams, prepare for final phase," Maya announced. "We're not just fighting their ships and soldiers. We're fighting centuries of conditioning, of artificial limitations imposed on the galaxy itself." The Kefil Elders' crystalline form pulsed with newfound strength. They thought they could control evolution, contain the natural chaos of life itself. Instead, they only proved why such control is impossible. Maya watched as more signals lit up her display, more species awakening, more civilizations remembering their true potential. The revolution wasn't just military, it was evolutionary, cultural, fundamental. "The dawn is breaking," she said softly. "Not just for humanity, but for every species they try to cage." The Confederation had spent centuries building their perfect order. Now, in a matter of months, that order was being replaced by something far more powerful, the chaotic, beautiful, unstoppable force of natural evolution, amplified by the combined potential of 1,000 awakening species. The revolution wasn't just succeeding, it was becoming something more, a renaissance for an entire galaxy that had been slumbering for far too long. The giants were awakening, and their combined strength would reshape the cosmos itself. The Confederation capital world hung in space like a fading jewel, its once perfect order now transformed by the chaos of revolution. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the ancient council chamber, but not as a supplicant this time. Around her, representatives from dozens of species, both former Confederation members and those they had suppressed, gathered to shape the galaxy's future. "The old order is ended," she announced, her voice carrying through translation fields that now served cooperation rather than control. "But we're not here to destroy. We're here to transform." The chamber had changed. Where once the council had sat elevated above others, now all species met as equals. Full crystalline forms resonated with restored wisdom. Zixra energy beings pulsed with unleashed creativity. Even former Confederation species, freed from their own rigid hierarchies, were discovering new potential. "Look at what we've achieved in mere months," Commander Rodriguez added, indicating the holographic displays showing the transformed galaxy, not through conquest, but through liberation. The displays told an extraordinary story. Freed from artificial constraints, species were evolving rapidly, rediscovering lost abilities, developing new ones. The combination of restored ancient knowledge and human-inspired innovation was creating technologies that would have been impossible under the old order. Dr. Maya Patel's research teams had discovered something remarkable. The galaxy itself seemed to be awakening. The Confederation's suppression hadn't just affected individual species, it had been dampening the very processes of cosmic evolution. "We propose a new form of organization," Sarah continued. "Not a confederation based on control, but a coalition founded on diversity. Every species free to develop their potential, to contribute their unique perspectives." The chamber hummed with discussion in 1,000 languages. Former enemies found common ground. Species that had been isolated for centuries discovered shared dreams. The rigid categories that had defined Confederation society dissolved into a fluid exchange of ideas and possibilities. Captain Lai Wei, her tactical genius now turned to coordination rather than combat, presented the practical framework. "We're establishing open channels for cultural exchange, technological cooperation, scientific collaboration. No more artificial barriers, no more protected species status." The changes were already visible. In shipyards across the galaxy, vessels were being redesigned to accommodate multiple species working together. Research facilities combined different approaches to science and technology. Cultural centers celebrated the endless variations of cosmic life. "There will be challenges," Cathal warned, their crystalline form shifting with ancient patterns. "Change brings chaos, and chaos can be dangerous." "Chaos also brings growth," Sarah countered. The Confederation forgot that life itself emerges from chaos, that evolution requires variation and change. The coalition charter was signed not with formal ceremonies, but with demonstrations of what cooperation could achieve. Thal crystals amplified Zixra energy manipulation, creating new forms of faster-than-light travel. Human adaptability combined with Nectar living metal technology to develop self-evolving ships. Each species contributed something unique, and the combinations produced marvels. In the months that followed, the galaxy transformed. The first joint exploration fleet, led by Captain Li Wei's protege and crewed by members of 15 different species, discovered wonders that the Confederation's rigid protocols would have missed. Research teams combining multiple perspectives solved problems that had stumped single species for centuries. Dr. Patel's ongoing studies revealed more surprises. Species that had been separated by Confederation decree discovered ancient connections. The galaxy's evolutionary history was far more intertwined than anyone had imagined, and the new freedom was allowing long-dormant potentials to emerge. Sarah found herself working longer hours than during the revolution, but with greater joy. Every day brought new discoveries, new combinations, new possibilities. The coalition wasn't just replacing the Confederation's order, it was creating something that had never existed before. They feared change, she told a gathering of young diplomats from across the galaxy. They tried to control evolution itself, but life finds a way. Intelligence finds a way. Freedom finds a way. The final transformation came in unexpected ways. The rigid hierarchies of the Confederation had classified species as superior or inferior, advanced or primitive. The Coalition discovered that every species had something to teach and something to learn. Human adaptability remained crucial, not as a dominant force, but as a catalyst for change. Their ability to bridge differences, to imagine new possibilities, to embrace chaos while finding patterns within it, helped species rediscover their own forgotten adaptability. A year after the revolution, Sarah stood at the observation deck of the new Coalition hub, watching ships of all designs moving through space. Each vessel represented a different species or combination of species, each following their own path while contributing to the greater whole. They called us primitive, she mused to her gathered friends, human, Kithel, Zixra, and others. They thought our adaptability was a weakness, our diversity a flaw. They never understood that these were the keys to unlock the galaxy's true potential. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if the galaxy itself was awakening to new possibilities. The dream of tomorrow was becoming reality, not through control and suppression, but through the beautiful chaos of freedom and cooperation. Humanity had risen from underestimated to unstoppable, but their greatest victory wasn't in proving their own strength. It was in showing the galaxy that every species had the potential to rise, to evolve, to become more than what they had been told they could be. The age of control was over. The age of possibility had begun.